Hello. Today I thought we were going to attempt some oil painting. I had this idea to hold an oil painting workshop for my creative club because a lot of people are interested in it. And I thought, what would be a better intro to oil painting than a little fruit portrait? The only problem is I never really sit down to think how the hell I'm doing these. In the past couple of years I have been painting in acrylics, so I really need to get back to the oil painting vibes. But before we do, I'm going to need to change to appropriate attire. I'm using a tiny canvas that is a leftover from an actually pretty cheap and shitty canvas, but I thought it's going to be perfect for some experimentation. Also, I'm starting with a grid because everything is much easier with a grid. And I think a grid is a really nice way to show people that sometimes you imagine something to look a certain way and something to be drawn a certain way, and then it's so not drawn like that. You know, draw what you see and not what you think you see. So I usually start with a loose sketch just to place things roughly, then I slowly build up the layers with oil paint. Sometimes I already sketch in where the shadows and the lights are going to be, just to have this calm state in my head about it, like, yeah, I know what's going on, I know where to put things. I don't have a lot of oil paints right now, but there is some that I really love, for example these ones, and there is some that I got new. The Van Gogh one is amazing, and this art creation one is a bit meh. But you know, maybe I'm just using it wrong. When I'm not sure what colors to use, I actually squint my eyes a little. It helps me see the big shapes and values without getting distracted by all the tiny details. But since you're watching through a screen, I'll make it easier. We'll blur the reference image a bit here. See how now it's just patches of light and dark? That's basically what I'm looking for when I squint. It's a really simple way to figure out where the light hits and where the shadows are. From here, I just block the main colors, not worrying about getting anything perfect yet, just getting the general vibe right. So with oil paint there's this thing called fat over lean, which just means your top layers should be a bit thicker or have more oil than the ones underneath. But since I'm trying to finish this in one sitting, I'm not really doing a bunch of separate layers that dry in between, so just try to keep everything kind of even and not go too thick too soon. If you want it in the paint a bit at the start, you can use a little medium or solvent. Honestly, it's more about feeling it out. You want the paint to move but not slide around like a butter on a hot pan. I keep the early layers a bit lighter, then slowly build up where I need more depth or texture. It's all wet on wet, so blending is easier and you can just keep adjusting things as you go. After putting down the basic colors comes my favorite part, refining the little textures, just like that slightly shiny skin of an apple, thinking about, oh, what the background influences on the apple. I try not to overdo it though. A few well-placed highlights or color shifts go a long way, and throughout the whole thing I keep stepping back to look at the painting from kind of like a distance. It helps me check if everything's still working as a whole. And that's pretty much it, nothing fancy, just a bunch of slow layered steps. Honestly, it's one of those processes where the more time you give it, the better it turns out, but you really need to know when to stop. It's funny that painting something as ordinary as fruit can be actually quite a bit relaxing, because there's no pressure, just observation and very small decisions. And sometimes that's exactly what I need. I need a break from all the noise, just me, the brush, and a very patient apple. Okay, I'm happy with this. It's actually going much faster than I thought it was gonna be. Let's set the background because I do not have so much time, and I also realized I forget to eat lunch, and now it's like it's 3:24 and I'm hungry. So let's just finish the background quick and then we can go and whip up something yummy. A lot of times I stress about my paintings because I have them in a half-detailed version in my head and there's so many variables that I can change. It most of the time comes from my imagination, so there's not so many rules I can kind of follow. And that's why I really love doing realism, and that's why I really love doing these fruits, because they're just so simple. They actually give me so much peace that I know how it should look in a way. And I also know that although it's not perfect, everyone realizes it's an apple and it's a grapefruit. Well, maybe you think it's an orange. It's like an orangey grapefruit. Done and done. Now I'm gonna let it sit for a while before I rip off the things. I actually need to do it before tomorrow because I'm having a workshop, but I'm very clumsy and I feel like I'm just gonna drop it if I take it up. So let's do that later. For now, I am very happy and I'm gonna rewatch my recordings to see how I could do some instructions with this. And again, this workshop is not for like any professional reasons, just for people to have fun and have a nice memory and, you know, enjoy life, really. So I'm not super worried about like technicalities so much. I just want them to have a nice time. I also really need to get back to the oil painting game because I've been doing acrylic for a while now and it's really different. And I feel like my hand is really acquainted with acrylic, so I'm gonna need to get back. So now I just need to sit down and actually write out the steps that I used and think about how I want to kind of teach them. And I thank you so much for watching and spending this little time with me, and I hope maybe you try it out at home too.